99% of YouTubers are making this same script writing mistake. I've watched thousands of hours of YouTube videos and found something shocking. The most successful channels are all doing the exact opposite of what you're taught makes great content, and yet it works better than anything else. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what this technique is, why it works, and how you can start using it in your next script. And if you stick around to the end of the video, I'll give you a bit of extra seasoning you can use to spice things up even more. The middle of the video is often where people make the biggest mistakes without even realizing it. Let's think about writing videos as if we were making a sandwich. The top piece of bread represents your hook and title and thumbnail video packaging. The bottom piece of bread can be thought of as the ultimate payoff and ending of your video that holds everything together. And of course, you have your middle section stuffed in between both pieces of bread, the main filling that people are drawn towards in the first place. But if this middle section isn't built right, the whole thing falls apart the moment your viewer decides to take a bite into your metaphorical video sandwich. Let me show you how the top 1% of YouTubers are building sandwiches that are as delicious and fresh as if they came from Subway. Our first point being pattern interrupts, aka layering of ingredients. When you're building a sandwich, you don't just put the same ingredient layer after layer and call it a day. If you just stuffed only tomatoes on your bread, I imagine that would make for a soggy and boring meal. Instead, what you'd want to do is find a better way to lay your sandwich, aka your video, with a variety of different ingredients. Something that will make every bite interesting as it's consumed. The videos that tend to perform the best are the ones that can create well-placed pattern interruptions, in which after a period of time, you aren't experiencing the same repetitive segment. Instead, you're met with cuts to different visuals, text effects, someone reacting to something, and much more. So now, instead of a soggy tomato sandwich, let me show you what a well-layered one looks like. You start with you on camera, then you cut to a visual or example, then on-screen text or a sound effect, then a reaction or shift in energy. And now here's our fully assembled sandwich. Each layer is different, and that's what keeps your viewer watching. But even with a good amount of content layered in the middle of your sandwich, people can still mess this up because they might be making the mistake of adding too many ingredients to the sandwich in the first place. Next, you want to kill your darlings, aka cut out the soggy stuff. The top 1% of creators are constantly making their videos short and crisp by cutting out unnecessary content. Sure, you can have layers of mayo, piles of lettuce and cheese, thinking you're adding extra value and that you're making your video sandwich better, but instead, you're just making it soggy and to an extent very inedible. You need to start killing your darlings. It starts with being honest with yourself about the things that really aren't benefiting your viewer, even if you like what you've written. We've all been there. A simple way to do this is reading through your script, especially aloud, and asking yourself these questions. Does this sentence help progress the story? Is this point even relevant to the video topic? Are these paragraphs absolutely necessary to explain the XYZ concept? And if the answer is no for any of these, then it gets cut. Next, you want to add your emotional sauce. Now all that's missing is that unique special sauce to top it all off. And this sauce is something we as human beings can never ever get enough of. 99% of YouTubers will make the mistake of having only information in their video, and that's layered perfectly, but there's no emotional taste, and that makes videos forgettable. Instead of telling viewers that the best way to achieve a flow state is to just meditate, you'd think about instead telling a story about how someone who couldn't focus because they had a lot of racing thoughts and could only reach a flow state only after controlling their breathing and sorting through those thoughts. Now, rather than generic tips that every channel says, you're giving a relatable real-world example that's tied to emotions. So when you're going through the major points of your script, show why it matters and try to anchor it in emotion when possible. People don't always remember the information they learned from a video, but they do tend to remember how it made them feel. Now for that extra seasoning that can make your videos taste even better for viewers. Be as specific and detailed when you're talking about things, especially if there's an opportunity to use sensory language. For example, instead of just saying, I worked hard to focus on my business, you'd instead say something like, I was waking up at 5 a.m. spending 12-hour days building a feature for my app that nobody ended up using. Another version that's even punchier and uses sensory language could be, I spent 3 months building a feature for my app, late nights, skipped meals, the day it launched, 0 users. The point is to give the viewer those extra details, aka the seasoning, that turns a bland video sandwich into something they can actually taste. So now that you know the 3 rules for writing a metaphorical video sandwich that doesn't fall apart in the middle, you'll need to make sure that people will want to pick it up in the first place. So you won't want to miss this video that goes over the best ways that you can hook viewers into watching your content.